Then Lauren says, slowly I began to realize that the reason I didn't like Kristin wasn't because of Steven, it's because I don't like Kristin. So I think that as much as I try to become friends with her, I just don't like her.
I did not think that was where that was going.
I think she's a mean person, and I just don't like her, and I don't want her to be my friend.
Hello, and welcome back to a new episode of Millennial TV. We are your hosts, Liz,
Candace,
and Adrian.
And today we will be going over part 1 of our Laguna Beach Season 2 special features recap. Today we will be talking about the deleted scenes and the cast interviews. Next week, we will discuss the casting tapes and some of the short featurettes that are included. Unfortunately, the special features are not really available anywhere to watch online, but that's why you have us to fill you in. And the DVDs are also available to purchase on Amazon or eBay for around $10.
Or you can look on Facebook Marketplace and you can get them for cheap.
Yes.
That's what I did.
You got an amazing deal of everything, though.
I have like the full collection of the Hills, too. So some girl was selling it and I'm like, yes, that's mine.
In a few weeks, we will be recording an episode to answer any questions our listeners might have for us. So if you have anything you'd like to ask, or even just a comment or thoughts you'd like to share, drop us a line on Instagram or send us an email. You can find us at Millennial TV, that's Millennial TEAV on Instagram, or you can email us at millennialtv@gmail.com. Before we get into the special features, we thought it would be fun to talk about Twitter interactions we've had with celebrities, some who have been on Laguna Beach or the Hills, and others that are not. Who would like to start?
I feel like mine's so embarrassing. I'm just going to go first.
Okay.
So a few years back for Taylor Swift's Reputation tour, Spencer Pratt became a Swiftie. Okay, out of nowhere. If you listen to this podcast, you know that I am a huge Swiftie. And at this time, I was also following Spencer on Snapchat because he was kind of funny. And he started doing these Snapchat stories where he would just jam out to Reputation songs. And at the time, Taylor Swift was not well liked. This was after Kanye and Kim threw the Taylor Swift is over party on Twitter. This was a bad era for us Swifties. If you know, you know. He started kind of jamming to her music and telling people he really liked her and just giving her a lot of free promo. And he was extremely butthurt when he did not get a promo package or tickets to her Reputation Stadium tour. And he was all over Snapchat basically trashing her after that because she didn't get tickets to her Reputation Stadium tour. And that rubbed me the wrong way because I'm a Swiftie. And so I tweeted, because I'm a keyboard warrior over here. But I tweeted, I wasn't rude. I didn't cuss at him. Nothing like that. Don't want anybody to think that. But I basically just said, Taylor Swift doesn't owe you anything because she doesn't. And I mean, she didn't ask him to promote anything for her. She didn't promise anything. He did it on his own. So, you know, I was like, she doesn't owe you anything. And like, if you did it to get something out of it, it makes it way less genuine that you are a Swiftie and like her. And well, Spencer didn't like that. I forget what he replied, but then Perez Hilton saw it. And if you know who Perez Hilton is, he is like celebrity gossip blogger from the 2000s. He was really, really big and he was known for being mean. And he tweeted back at me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And he was like, are you kidding? Spencer got her way more recognition from his Snapchat stories and made her more popular. And she absolutely should send him a promotional package. And I was like, LOL, no. And so Spencer then blocked me on Twitter. I'm still blocked on Twitter by Spencer Pratt. And Taylor ended up sending him a promotional package and tickets anyway.
I was gonna say
she did.
Because I was listening to another podcast he was on recently, Juicy Scoop, and he was talking about how like Taylor and her mom probably heard all about it and invited them, and when he actually saw them, they like gave him the eye, you know, like We know how much you love her.
Yeah. Well, he was
Wow.
really pissed initially because when they first started going out, those promotional packages, like he was like, I didn't get one. And he was like super butthurt. And then he ended up getting one like a couple weeks later. And I was like, after I had this like fight with him on Twitter, I'm like, Taylor, way to make me look bad.
Yeah,
like,
Those
so,
toxic Taylor fans.
Yeah, I'm like, I wish you hadn't sent him a promotional thing, but it happened, and I'm still blocked by him on Twitter. He really doesn't like it when you have anything negative to say about him. He will instantly block you, which is fine. I still follow Heidi. So I know what's going on. And Spencer, there's no beef between us if you ever want to come on the podcast.
I was going to say, if we reach out to him, he's going to be like, oh, that's that girl who was mean to me on Twitter.
He's going to...
No.
I know. I'm like, Spencer, there's no beef. I'm happy that you're a Swiftie. The more the merrier.
That's so funny. I can't believe Perez wrote back to you. That's crazy.
I was shocked out of my mind because I didn't tag him or anything. Like, he just
Well, and
saw
I would
it.
be so scared because he
Yeah.
was like king of mean.
I mean,
Yeah.
you think I freaking backed off after that? I did. Like, I was terrified. Like, are you kidding? But yeah, that was my little Twitter fight with Spencer Pratt. That wasn't really a fight at all.
I'll share because mine's kind of Laguna related. I mean, it is, and kind of Hills related. So I followed Kristin this whole time. I followed her on Twitter. And on this Twitter account, she used to post like, ask me anything, ask me any questions. So I remember seeing one of those before school one day, and I literally asked, what is your go-to coffee order? And she like responded and she said, a caramel macchiato. And I squealed when I heard that. Like, when I was like, I can't believe she responded to me. I ran to school. I told all my friends about it. No one cared because no one knew who Kristin Cavallari was. And I was like, no, you guys don't understand. I'm like, she's a celebrity. And no one cared. And then years later, I saw her Twitter again. And I noticed that it was not the same handle that I had tweeted all those years ago. And then when I went to go look at the person that I tweeted, it was just like a random ass person pretending to be her.
Oh, no.
And so I'm like,
gosh.
I was literally gypped because I thought that I was talking to the real Kristin Cavallari. And even today, I'm like, a caramel macchiato always reminds me of Kristin Cavallari, but it's not her. It was not her.
That is so sad.
I spent, I know, at least a couple years thinking I had some sort of like celebrity interaction, but it wasn't real.
There were so many fake Twitters back in the day. I hated that.
Why would anyone spend their time pretending to be some like a celebrity like that? It's so odd.
I have a couple of different weird ones to talk about. Mine are not Laguna Beach or Hills people, but it's just like random things that happened on Twitter over the years. So, and it was kind of problematic now, but I have had 2 interactions on Twitter with Chris Harrison, the former host of The Bachelor.
Oh.
Yes. So the first time was he had written a romance novel and Kyle bought it for me for Valentine's Day. I know. Because I was like, I have to read this. Like, it's going to be so cheesy,
Yeah.
And so I tweeted it at him and I was like, oh, my husband bought me this. Like, it's so good or whatever. And he wrote back and was like, your husband is a smart man. Like, I don't remember what else he said, but I was like, holy crap. Like, Chris Harrison wrote back to me. And then on my 30th birthday, they announced that the new season of Bachelor in Paradise was coming back. Like, they were like, here's the release date. And it was on my birthday that they announced that. And so I tweeted again something like, thanks, Chris, for like the birthday gift. And he wrote back and he's like, happy birthday and all this stuff. And it was so weird. I'm like, he's writing me back again.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like 2 interactions with him.
Yes, it's so funny.
That's pretty cool. Like,
Yeah,
I
that
don't
is
like
cool.
Chris Harrison now, but like when I watched
used
The
to,
Bachelor,
yeah.
and when I loved
he was
it,
like my favorite.
I
yeah.
almost bought a cameo from that man. Okay.
Oh my gosh, his cameos are like $500.
So
It's crazy.
expensive. Yeah.
But I looked into that too. Yeah. That's so funny. So I have one more story, and this one has like a little bit of a backstory to it before I get to the Twitter part of it. When Kyle and I lived in Los Angeles, this was like 2012, I think, we would always run into this one random celebrity around town. His name's Rob Hubel, and he usually plays like side character roles, but he had kind of a big role in the movie I Love You Man, and then the movie What to Expect When You're Expecting. He had a pretty big role in that movie too. It was just weird. Like we would be like at lunch and we'd be like, oh, there's that guy again. Like we just constantly ran into him. It was bizarre. And so we went on a hike, and as we were like finishing up the hike, like we're almost to the end where we're going to go back to our car, we saw there was like a bunch of police, and they were like totally barricading like the parking lot, and they were not letting people go back into the get your cars. And so we were just like, okay, like I guess we'll just like hang out here or whatever. And then oddly enough, that guy, Rob Hubel, he was there. We see him. He's also finishing a hike. We're like, what the heck? And so we had never actually like interacted with him before, but he came up to us and was like, hey, do you guys know what's going on? We're like, no, like we just finished our hike too. And we were just like, oh my God, like he's talking to us. So me, Kyle, and then this guy, Rob, we were like, let's go over here to where all these other people are standing around and see if we can figure out what's going on. There's like a group of people like huddled around another guy. And then when we got closer, there was a guy like talking to the group, and Kyle was like, oh my gosh, I think that's one of the hosts from Wipeout. Like, you know, remember the show Wipeout?
Yeah.
And so it totally was. And he was like taking charge of the crowd, acting like, okay, everybody, here's what I found out from the police. And he was like,
oh my God.
like, he was acting like he was like a boss or something, and was like, you know, trying to do like crowd control when everybody was just like standing around. Nobody was like trying to get through the police or whatever. It was so weird and hilarious. And so when we were just waiting around, Kyle, he tweeted, and I went back at his Twitter, I found this, and he put, stuck in Griffith Park because of a police standoff, and no joke, the Wipeout guy is taking charge of the situation. And so when we eventually got home later, on Twitter, the Wipeout guy, his name is John Henson, he liked Kyle's tweet and then replied to him and was like, ha ha ha, I thought I was going to have to regulate. And he put regulate in all caps. But the funniest thing about that is that Kyle, he did not tag him in that. He did not hashtag. He did nothing to get that guy's attention.
So he was searching the Wipeout guy.
Literally searching the word Wipeout on Twitter and found Kyle's tweet.
And didn't take that sarcastically at all and responded.
No, like, it's like a joke.
That is so good.
We like died laughing. We were like, holy crap, this guy, like just thinking of him like looking at Twitter like Wipeout. Oh, there's me. So
seriously.
Oh my gosh.
Did you ever see Hubel again?
Yes, we ran into him all the time while we lived there. It was so he must have lived in the same neighborhood as us or something, because there was always like one area, a street called Larchmont, where there's like a bunch of shops and like cute places to have lunch, and we would see him over there a lot. But then we saw him at the hike. We saw him like at Target once. It was so weird. So, but he's like our friend now because we were like, let's go check this out.
Stop it, Liz. You're friends with a celebrity.
I know. A side celebrity.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, not anymore. I haven't seen him in like 15 years, but that's okay.
I loved every part of this story.
If any of you guys have ever had any funny Twitter interactions with celebrities, let us know because we would love to read those stories. And now let's get into the special features. First, we'll start off with the deleted scenes. And the first deleted scene is a dinner party taking place at Lauren's house. This was kind of an odd sequence with most everyone from season 1 showing up for the dinner party, and it felt kind of awkward and almost like a behind the scenes segment rather than a whole deleted scene. They still did edit in random shots of people just looking at each other.
But there's no edited music, which makes it really, really awkward.
That's why it feels even weirder. Yeah, it's very quiet. Yeah.
I was like, this is the most awkward thing I've ever seen. Like, this looks like the lamest dinner party I've ever seen. It was nice to see, like, Trey and some of the old cast, like Christina, though.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of cool, but it did feel weird and out of place, so I kind of get why they didn't include it.
So we see Lo asking if Steven and Kristin are together, and then we see Steven and Lauren step outside, and she goes to show him her pool. And this is the first time that he's seen Lauren's house since everything was finished, so he's, like, reacting to all of that. And then Steven and Lauren sit by the pool, and she says that she hasn't used it yet. And I was thinking, obviously, because it's winter time, so it's probably like way too cold to go swimming.
They look freezing this whole scene. And I'm just like, oh, go inside.
Yeah, they're like shivering. Lauren talks about how she doesn't want to live at home forever, and Steven jokes that he would come home to live like this, and she says that they have a guest room for him. He feels the pool water and says how cold it is, and then he like splashes some on her face. And she asks if he's going to go back for sure, like to San Francisco, and he says yes. And then she says it's going to be weird when everyone leaves, and they sit there kind of like a weird long pause between the two of them before going back inside.
I thought they were cute here.
Yeah, it was a sweet scene.
It
was really
yeah.
cute. And I loved Lauren's little like cold shoulder top. She's just wearing one of those like, it's like completely off her shoulders kind of top. It was really cute.
Yeah.
It's so funny to see how like 20s people like dress back then, because like it was such a mature outfit. I thought that like you would never see that on like teenagers
and
these
she's
days.
wearing heels.
Yes, heels with like the jeans folded up.
I never mastered the jeans and heels. Did you guys?
No.
I could never. I felt
really.
like I could never pull that off, but it always looked so chic and cute on Lauren. But I would have felt so dumb.
Like I had nowhere to go with that outfit.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
exactly.
She's just at her house. Like it's not even like she's not going anywhere. But yeah,
look at her house.
I know. Yeah. I know. I can't get over how freaking gorgeous that place is.
Yeah.
I wonder who bought it.
I wonder.
And if you listen to the podcast, can we please come over?
Yeah, can we come to your house
and live our Laguna Beach dreams, please?
So the next deleted scene that we get, we see everyone at what looks like to be a Christmas party. And Lauren's outfit kind of shocked me a little bit at first. She has a black cardigan on with a red bra just like sticking out completely. And I was like, okay, she looks really hot, but it just was not her usual style to me.
Okay, but, and then she's got this little tiny skirt
The skirt that she made.
And and she's got knee highs on.
Yeah. It was a look.
It was a look. And I'm thinking, literally the only thing I could think looking at her and Lo, because Lo's outfit is also really cute. But thinking about them, I'm like, God, I miss being young and hot and like being able to wear stuff like that and like feeling so freaking hot for the night. You know what I mean? Like, you know, those girls were feeling themselves that night.
Oh, yeah.
And especially because no one else dressed up. So they felt like extra good.
Yeah.
And, you know, I miss that feeling of like, you know, all the boys are going to come and like they're going to see you in that cute, hot outfit that you spent so long on. And you're going to get a little waisty pants. And it's just going to be a good night. Like, I was just like, oh, I miss that. I'm like old now. I'm like, now I'm like, I would rather just wear leggings.
Yeah.
And a giant t-shirt or an oversized sweater.
Ugly Christmas sweater. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I don't have time to be in a little skirt. It's just not worth it anymore.
Yeah, her skirt looked like it was made out of like wrapping paper too. So I felt like it was with the Christmas theme, but it was interesting.
And I think it's Trey's Christmas party is what I gathered from this.
It's at his house. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So Lo comes in a gold tank top with a huge bow on the front, and she's telling everyone that she's a present. And the tank top basically has no back and just like really thin straps, and it looked like a clubbing outfit to me that she just like put a bow on front of. They
were gonna be hoes that night. Like it was on.
I know. In my notes it says someone's Christmas party, some kind of hoe Christmas party.
Yeah.
So Trey finds out that Dieter invited Jessica and is saying that he isn't going to let her into the house. And Trey is so mad at Dieter for inviting Jessica. I'm thinking maybe this was fresh from the breakup. I have no idea.
There's so much Jessica hate.
Yes.
So much. Yeah.
Because I couldn't figure out why Trey was so angry about it.
Yeah.
Like, why does he hate her so much? And I say this like a bunch of times throughout my notes, but it made me wish that we had seen more of the Dieter and Jessica relationship and the drama that followed.
Totally.
Because we have no context on why all of his friends dislike her so much.
Yeah.
And I would like to know like what happened and like, I don't know, like I would have loved to have just like seen more of that. And yeah, I don't know. I think it would have been cool.
So yeah, Dieter is fighting back, saying that she's out of his life. She's number 2. I don't really know what that means, but Trey says that he barred younger girls from coming to the party, except for Kristin and a few friends. And then Dieter argues that she is one of Kristin's good friends. And he doesn't want to make it seem like he gives a shit about her, though. So This was weird.
It was very aggressive and
It was
weird.
really intense, yeah.
And Trey doesn't get that way. So, like, I think that's what threw me off. I was like, why? She must have done something really awful.
For him to get involved.
Yeah.
Something must have happened.
All of Dieter's friends are like, no, not Jessica. Like, and he's still kind of so into her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very, like, I don't know. I would like to know the deets.
The deets from Dieter.
Yeah, the deets from Dieter.
Yeah. The scene was really interesting, and I wish that we would have actually seen it in the show. I wonder why they cut it all out.
Because everyone was too drunk.
Yeah. Or they had to pick Christmas parties.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Which
it was like
better?
one or the other. So.
True. So the next scene is with Lauren and her dad, and we see her dad calling from the house phone and asks if she's ready, and we see Lauren driving off, and we get like a big shot of downtown LA, so she's going to Los Angeles. And we see her arrive at a clothing studio for an interview, and the lady gives her notes and says she has 20 minutes to put a little presentation together. So, like, no pressure, that's so fast. And the lady is like really tough on her in this presentation and says that Lauren was good and friendly, but she could improve eye contact. And she says when Lauren first arrived, she had her arms crossed and she shouldn't do that. And no gum chewing during appointments. And she shouldn't be wearing flip-flops. And then she also tells her to try flipping her hair less. This was so, like, really intense. It gave me the vibes of Christina's New York audition a little bit.
Yes.
Just like how intense and harsh it was.
She was kind of bitchy back, though, which I kind of liked. Like, she was just like, it's a habit.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And she's like, well, this is my first time seeing this stuff.
I know.
Yeah.
She's like, I've never done this before. So
yeah. What do you expect? Yeah.
I would say like producers probably asked that like manager to like give her that feedback. But is it bad that I watched this going like, I felt everything that manager was saying. Like when she walked in with flip-flops, I was like, what is she doing at her internship with flip-flops?
Yeah.
I thought the flip-flops were weird too.
It was like too much. And then like the gum chewing and like, you're right. Every time the lady would like give her a critique or like a feedback point, she's just like, you shouldn't be wearing flip-flops. And she's like, well, I've only been to like surf company. What is that called? Showrooms. Yeah. She had something for everything.
Yeah.
I thought this was funny.
It was pretty funny. I just wanted to say, when she's walking down the street towards Three Dots, she's wearing this like basic black tank top, but whatever bra she is wearing is doing its job. Like it is like it. I was like, her boobs look so good. Like
it was probably that red bra from with that Christmas party.
Like, I was like, whatever bra that is, I want it immediately. Like, she looked fantastic. I mean, other than the flip-flops needed to go.
Yeah.
But
that's when she should have wore the heels.
Yes.
With the jeans. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Next, we see Lauren and Dieter hiking, and Lauren is telling him about her internship. And he jokes that she's going to make bank and pay his rent. And then she says, no, an internship, you work for free and get paid an experience. And he says, oh, really? She tells him about the interview and says she's planning on moving out after summer since right now there's no point in moving out since her job is 15 minutes away. And Dieter says it was weird moving out and having to do laundry. And Lauren says she needs to learn to cook. And he says, well, that's what restaurants are for. And then she says for an entire semester, she had a kitchen and never cooked. And then Dieter says that he tried to cook Easy Mac and it was so difficult. He says he bought a 20-pack and cooked 18 before getting it right.
I loved that. It was so cute.
And then he was talking about who would have kids first and says what the world needs is more little Dieters. And he asks her, can you imagine if there were like 20 more of me? I thought this scene was really cute, and I wish we could have seen more of their friendship in the show.
I love the Dieter-Lauren friendship. Yeah, it's so cute.
And her dog was there again.
2 dogs.
Both of
Two
theirs,
dogs.
Yeah. It was really cute.
Yeah, I love that they were walking their dogs together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is so freaking cute. Like, they're family dogs.
Yeah, we always hear about how he was like, she's his best girlfriend and stuff, but we never really got to see any of that till the very end. So,
yeah, I loved it.
Me too. Next, we had raw footage of Talon and Kristin surfing. And I thought it was cool to see this because there were no wild lines added, no music. It was just like completely uncut footage of them in the ocean. And I thought all of this was cute and that it actually looked like Kristin was having fun with him.
It looked way more fun than her experience with Steven.
And he was way nicer to her too.
Yes. Next, we got a few clips from the Wave Rave, and we got to see Morgan, Taylor, and Jessica actually riding the wave. And I wish that they would have left this in because all we got to see was the boys doing it. And so I thought it was
Yeah.
really fun to see the girls doing it and like it being silly.
It was cute.
I was surprised to see Jessica on there and having such a good
Yeah.
time. We don't really see her having fun the whole season. Like, she's just fighting with somebody or like miserable. So I was like, oh, she looks like she's having a really good time. That's awesome.
And then in the next scene, we see Lauren, Steve, Jen, and Dieter go-karting at Boomers. And I just have to say, Boomers we used to have a bunch of those here in Southern California, and they're pretty much all closed now. It's like mini golf, arcade, rock climbing, go-karts. And we actually had one like 10 minutes from us, but it got shut down during COVID. And now that spot is going to be a car dealership, and it makes me really sad.
Boo.
I know. We have like no mini golf places around us anymore, which sucks.
Aww. I love mini golfing. I really do.
Me too.
Like, actual golf sucks, but I love mini golf.
Yeah.
It's like such a cute date activity.
It is. It's so cute.
While they are go-karting, Lauren teases Jen that she came in last place, and Jen says it was the worst experience that ever happened in her life.
Oh, her voice. I like, oh my gosh, the scene. I was like half paying attention because something was happening on my phone, and I just heard Jen's voice, and I was like, cringe. Like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened in my entire life. Like, ugh. Some people just rub you the wrong way, and Jen is that for me. I'm ready to be done with her, and I have so much more left.
I know.
Just getting started.
Yeah.
We also see Lauren and Steven rock climbing at Boomers, and they're racing to the top. And I was super impressed by Lauren and how fast she got up to the top.
So fast. I was so impressed.
Awesome.
Steven lost hard.
Oh, yeah.
She was like flying up that thing. Like, it was amazing.
She was. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I love a girl who can rock climb.
And then in the next scene, we see Taylor and Talon going on a walk together, and Talon is talking about the rumors of what he's doing, where he's been going, and then he's talking about how he wants everyone to assume he's going to blow it during his performance where he's going to sing at the fashion show. He says he's been practicing all day and night, then is talking about that for 6 years growing up, he did tap dance and singing lessons.
Dude, he's so serious about his singing career.
I know.
It's so cute. He's like, nobody's going to know what I've been doing, and everyone's wondering, and like, I want everyone to think I'm gonna blow it, but it's gonna be awesome. Like, he really put his little heart and soul into this.
He did.
I love it. And I literally was like, little Talon tap dancing.
I know.
I would pay money to see some footage of that.
Adorable.
That is so cute.
Or even like the photos of him in like a glittery dance outfit. Like
little boys that dance are so stinking cute.
It's the cutest. So yeah, Taylor says that after everything, she's glad that they're friends now, and he says he thinks they are as good as they've ever been, and she agrees. She says we're friends now, so it's all good, and he acts kind of sad, and as they walk away, he says, friends. She says, come walk with me since we're friends now, and she jokes to keep some space in between them while they're walking. And I thought this was cute. I wish we would have seen this to get like a little bit of closure on that whole relationship.
It was like them in a good place and like just being playful and friendly, and it was cute.
The next scene we get is at Casey's house. This was my favorite deleted scene because of how ridiculous it was. I mean, I hated it, but I like loved it because I hated it.
Yes.
Her house. First and foremost, like, we have to break this down a little bit because it's such a short scene, but it's so like specific and iconic. The house looks like a freaking Beverly Hills 90210 like screenshot house. Like, yes, her walking down her like spiral freaking staircase lined in gold.
Yeah,
like, I was
it's
like, okay.
Yes.
The aesthetic here, okay.
So this is like the most set up scene. We see her walking down the big staircase, pretending to be on the phone with Lauren. And her mom is just randomly sitting on the couch downstairs, like all dolled up, looking like a real housewife. And
with her boobs completely hanging out of her top.
Yeah. And she's just sitting there waiting for Casey. Like, I love she's just sitting doing nothing. And then Casey tells her about the fashion show benefit and how she's going to be a model in it. And her mom says, well, of course. And Casey giggles. Casey says, I was wondering if we could donate, help out, or donate and stuff. And her mom says she'd love to do that. That's wonderful, and suggests donating a spa package and dinner. And then her mom says, that'd be a nice treat. Let's do it. Put a pretty package together. And Casey says, okay, thank you. And her mom says, you're welcome. And that was the end of the scene.
Okay. A huge spa package that probably cost so much freaking money that they're going to donate to this thing. And her mother looks like she literally stepped out of an episode of Real Housewives of Laguna Beach.
Totally.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was like, oh. Like, that was literally my reaction to Casey's mom. Like, if you guys haven't seen this scene, you have to, just for the, like, experience of Casey, of Casey's world.
Yeah.
Just a snippet of Casey's world.
Yeah. The whole thing felt like, I'm ready for my close-up, you know, just both of them. And I just can imagine, like, the camera guys, like, directing them of, like, okay, now you're going to walk down the stairs, then you're going to walk over to your mom sitting on the couch.
Fake
like,
the phone call with Lauren, and then walk down.
I felt like I could have been standing there directing it. It was just, it felt like a student film to me. It was hilarious.
It was totally a setup scene, but at the same time, I feel like they do just sit around their house completely dolled up. Like, waiting for something to happen.
Just waiting, like, yeah.
She's got a personal hairstylist, so of course she's just ready all the time.
I feel like she wakes up with a full face of makeup. Like, it's just Casey's little world. That's the only way I can explain it.
Next, we see Steven and Dieter sitting on a cliff looking out at the ocean. And Steven says he wonders who will stay in touch as the years go on. And Dieter says he wants to stay in touch with so many people, but he only sees himself doing that with Steven, Trey, and Lauren. Dieter says he'll be stoked in 10 years to see where they will all be. And Dieter says next time he's back in Laguna, he'll be 20. And he says that that's sketchy.
Oh my God. But remember, like, turning 20 was such a big deal when you were young, because it was like no more one in your age.
Goodbye, teenager.
Gosh.
The next scene is with Jason Cedric, Jason's dad, and then another older man. Don't know who that guy is. They're all walking out of Jason's house and getting on motorcycles. And Cedric jokes that Jason's dad has a black razor phone. And so the guy who's holding the black razor phone is like way older looking. I actually thought the other guy was Jason's dad because he had like a big beard and stuff.
I thought so too.
And then Jason's dad says, let's go down to Starbucks or something. And they get on the motorcycles. And as they're driving off, Cedric says he could drive motorcycles all day, every day. And Jason says that he hasn't done this in so long, but Cedric says he's been doing it every day since he went with Jason's dad, every day for 2 weeks. So, alrighty.
Cedric's helmet is also tiny. I don't know if you guys noticed. I was like, why does his head look so small? Do you guys think guys on motorcycles are hot? Because they definitely thought that they were hot shit, like riding around town.
I don't think guys on motorcycles are hot. Do you?
No, not at all. Like, I'm like, you are reckless with your life.
I agree. I'm like, I would never want to get on that with you.
Same.
So, yeah, it scares me.
I don't really find motorcycles attractive. I literally have written down the scene really needed to be cut. It's so random. Who cares?
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
But even like when I was obsessed with Twilight in my youth, like,
oh God,
Jacob Black rode motorcycles and I like could care less. I mean, I wasn't a Jacob fan, obviously, but I didn't care that he rode motorcycles. And, you know, if Edward rode them, maybe I would have.
I know. I feel like your answer would be different if Edward was the one riding the motorcycle.
Next, we see Jessica and Dieter eating at the Salt Creek Grill. And she says Courtney left already, and Dieter says that this is it for him once he leaves because he signed a 2-year lease. He says she's the one thing that's tripping him out because she was his first love. And he says you can't fight loving and caring for someone. And Jessica says that she gets his point and thanks him. He jokes about her having a fun senior year, and she rolls her eyes at him and says that she did have a fun senior year. Jessica says it bothers her that everyone thinks he was the perfect boyfriend when he was such a jerk. And he says there were good times and it wasn't all bad. And then she like messes up his hair and he like flicks her on the face. And he tells her that she needs to come see him and that he's serious about wanting to keep in touch.
He's still so in love with her.
He is. But man, it was funny because of how Candace, me and you always are like, no, we're team Dieter. And then this was where she's like, he's such a jerk. So I was like, he did get a good edit. Like, I want to see what did he do that was a jerk,
yes,
you know?
All of this Dieter Jessica drama, like in the deleted scenes, I need more. Like, I need to know more about their relationship so bad. And I feel like there's so much we missed out on. after the fact, he seems to be so in love with her, but it seems like their relationship wasn't, like, he wasn't able to show that during his relationship with her.
But he's able to say, like, you know, I can't fight loving and caring for
Right.
you. Like, I thought that was so
Right.
sweet to say.
Yes. But then, like, she's so, like, the person that goes back to people. So why did she never go back to Dieter when he's, like, so in love with her?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless he was just a total ass, which is what I said since the beginning.
I know. You did say that. He was probably a jerk.
Oh my god, it showed. When you guys say that he got a good edit, I'm like, huh?
Next, we see Steven, Lauren, Christina, Dieter, Trey, and Lo, and they are going to go skydiving. And I'm wondering when this took place because Lauren is cuddling with Steven, like, pretty hardcore.
Oh my god, they are so touchy-feely in
It was a
this.
lot. Yeah. So I'm like, is she nervous or what? But she was, like, hugging onto his back and putting her hand in his pocket.
They're such assholes, though. In their interviews, they act like they, like, never did any of that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And then we see them take off in the plane and everybody jumps out one by one. Have you guys ever gone skydiving, or would you?
No, hell no, and absolutely not.
I said the only time I would go is if I were in Hawaii, because they have those, like, skydive things in Hawaii. So, like, my boyfriend and I signed up and we actually took the van, went all the way there, and the whole time I was, like, shitting my pants. Okay, like, I think I went to the bathroom I don't know how many times, but the weather was bad, you guys, so it ended up getting canceled.
Oh my gosh. But you were gonna do it.
Yes, but I couldn't have been happier because I was like, oh my god, I don't want to do it. I only did it because, like, I loved him so much. But then now I'm like, young me could have been convinced, but I'm like, old me, I'm like, I would not even sign up now. Like, I would never.
Watching it makes me want to throw up. Like, I couldn't imagine.
Well, and, like, there are accidents. Like, they've had crashes at those sites in Hawaii. So, like, it's not 100% safe.
There are instances of people's freaking parachutes not deploying.
Not coming out.
Absolutely not. That's not how I want to die.
Oh
no,
my
thank
god.
you.
I know. On the ground, thank you. Wait, Liz, how about you?
I wouldn't, no.
Never.
I feel like the only reason I would is if I was on, like, a competition show or something for, like, money. You know, if it was something like that, I'd probably do it.
Money.
But, like, willingly, no, I'm good. I've been parasailing before, but that's different.
You have, like,
did
kids
that
and
one,
stuff.
too.
You have, like, a reason to
live.
Responsibilities, yes. Can't go risking my life, yeah. Next, we get a cute scene of Alex and Taylor, and they are on Taylor's bed making a 2005 to-do list. Taylor's writing everything down in a notebook, and she makes a Venn diagram with one side being her name, the other is Alex, and then the middle is for what the two of them will do together. Taylor asks if, since it's her senior year, if she should tell Derek that she likes him, and Alex says that he already told her that he liked her back. Do you guys know who Derek is?
No.
Did we ever see him?
We only know a Derek in season 3.
Okay.
But it can't be him.
And then Alex asks, what about me for guys? And Taylor says that Jason and Jessica broke up. And Alex says, oh, that's so bad. Don't put that in my head. And Taylor says it's already in her head and that he's hot. Alex says, that's bad, Taylor. And Taylor says she would never diss Jessica, but Alex says it's something to think about. And Taylor writes down Jason with a question mark. Taylor asks if she'd want to go to dinner with Alex and Kristin. And Alex says, yes, that's a goal for the four of them to go to dinner without it being awkward. So Taylor writes down the word peace. And then I don't know if you guys noticed, but above peace, the word orientation was also there, but also the word revenge in all caps was there.
Oh, I did
you
not
guys
see that.
No.
Yeah. I paused it to be like, what else did they write down? And yeah, revenge was like a huge word. So I don't know who they were getting revenge on.
Revenge on Kristin for blaming her for stealing her idea.
Somebody was in
It's
their
hilarious.
reputation era. Damn.
Yeah.
This is so cute, though, like a to-do list for their senior
No,
year.
I love it. And then the next scene we get is Taylor's nose piercing.
My favorite.
It's so good. Yeah.
I was laughing so hard. Taylor's reaction is so funny.
It's so
oh
funny.
my god.
So we see Alex taking her to get her nose pierced, and she's super nervous going into it. And she chooses to get a small diamond stud. And after explaining to her how it works, the piercing guy puts a clear tube in her nose to catch the needle, and then he puts the needle in really fast. And he leaves the needle in her nose
for so long.
Yeah, it felt like a long time.
And she's like, oh my God, there's a needle in my nose. Oh my God.
She's like, is it in?
I know.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
There's a needle in my nose.
And she's like, she's crying.
Yeah.
But she knows she can't move either, so her face is like
And
frozen.
he's like, don't touch it.
He's
don't
so
touch it.
freaking annoyed.
Dude,
piercers are so, like, they must be so annoyed by all of the people that come in being like, I'm so scared, but I want to get a piercing. But, like, that's how we all feel, you know? It was the first time I'd ever seen a nose get pierced, so I was like, it was so shocking, but, like, they made the scene so funny.
Listen, I went with a friend of mine to get her nose pierced, and, like, I have not seen this deleted scene in a while, but that's not how they, like, do it. That needle was in her nose for far too long.
Yeah, I have my nose pierced, and that's how it was for me. They put the big needle in, and then the guy, like, had the ring ready, and then he just, like, did the switch, like, pretty fast.
Did it hurt, Liz?
I mean, a little bit. I wasn't, like, crying or anything.
I have, like, moments where I really, like, love the nose ring look, and I'm like, should I do it? But, like, piercings always take such a long time to heal for me, like, on my ear especially. So I don't know if it would be the same for your, like, especially it being on your face.
Sure. Well, I've never had any issues with my nose piercing. I got mine done when I was 18 also. And I've had infected earrings before, but my nose has never had anything. No issues at all.
It's so cute. I love it.
Thanks. So the guy finally puts the actual nose ring in, and she asks Alex if it looks cute. Alex says it does, and then Alex asks her again if it hurt. Alex says it looks like it went pretty slow to her, and the guy says it went pretty fast, except for all the chatter in between.
What an ass. Like,
dude. And Alex isn't wrong. It did take a weird amount of time.
Yeah. So they get back to the car, and Taylor's, like, admiring it in the mirror. And when they get home, she goes to show her mom, and her mom has a surprised, like, reaction, but then says that she loves it. And her mom says it looks like a little sparkle in her nose.
Her mom is so funny. She, like, grimaces when she sees her, and she's like, I love it.
Yeah.
At least she tried to be supportive.
Love her mom.
Yeah. Next, we see Lauren and her dad, Jim, and they're at FIDM. I looked this up. This is the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and all the cool kids call it FITM.
Oh, okay.
That's where Heidi went for a day, or, like, for a class on the hills.
Her dad says he's not worried about her getting in, and then the director of admissions greets them and takes them back for an interview. He says he doesn't have concerns of her making a good student and officially accepts her into the program. And then when Lauren and her dad get back in the car, Lauren makes a prank phone call to Dieter, and she tells him that she didn't get in. And she put on this really sad voice of, like, I didn't get in. And we hear him say, oh, he's so sorry. And then she says, just kidding, I did.
I know. I thought that was so cute.
Yeah.
So cute that he was her first phone call, too.
I
Like,
know.
That's how close they were.
Yeah.
And her being like, Dieter? Like her literal
Yeah.
cry voice.
Next, we see Lauren and Dieter driving in Lauren's car, talking about how she will be getting a new car. Dieter says he's stoked for her, and Lauren asks, how do you buy a car? And Dieter says, you give them money. They pull into the BMW dealership, and the car salesman takes them to the pre-owned section. The salesman says, this is idiot-proof, even I could drive it. Then he says it's the perfect accessory for Lauren, and it's what every girl needs. Lauren says she loves it, but it's up to her dad. And then as they're leaving the dealership, we hear Dieter say, let's just go steal it.
I'm like, who is this car salesman? He was short of being like, you look so cute in that car, girl. Like, go buy it.
He was creepy. Yeah. It was weird.
Yeah. But they're like that. Like, Jocelyn works at a car dealership.
Are they?
And they're all like that. Like, yeah. They'll tell you anything to get you to buy the freaking car.
Oh, yeah. Next, we see Alex and Taylor talking outside on a bench, and Alex says she doesn't know if she's going to be able to move to LA after they graduate because her dad wants her to be able to prove to them that she can go to school full-time before agreeing to pay for an apartment for her. And she says her choices for school are Cal State Fullerton or U of A. Alex says going to Arizona is what would make her mom happy, but she doesn't want to make her happy because she's so mad at her right now. And Taylor says she needs to prove her parents wrong, and Alex says her dad is telling her that she's just being too wild in her senior year. Taylor says she should just let it breathe for a while, but Alex says she has to tell them her decision by Monday. Taylor says that's not fair and that her parents should be helping her and that she should write her dad a note, not her mom, because her mom is a lost cause, no offense. And she says to write her dad a note, go to dinner with him, and talk to him on Monday night. Alex asks if Taylor would help her write the letter, and she says, of course.
I liked this scene because it was really nice to see Alex M so pissed off at her parents, because it's such a teenage emotion that we don't get to see a lot of on this show. It's a lot more about like friend relationships and like boys and stuff. You don't get to see a lot of interaction with the parents.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really nice to see, because I mean, I had my moments. My mom and I really did not get along when I was in high school. So, and I was always like, you know, going to Kelsey's house and bitching about my mom. And, you know, it was just cool to see.
The next scene we see is Lauren and Lo sunbathing. Then Lauren's mom comes out and shows them a purse that she bought. And then she hands Lauren a key and says, here's your accessory. Lauren screams and Lo asks, does this mean you just got your BMW? Lauren goes to the driveway where the convertible is and she gives her dad a big hug. She starts up the car and her and Lo drive off and they're wearing their bikinis. And then I thought it was funny, the next shot we see them stop driving like with their clothes on. But I thought it was cute that they drove off in their bikinis first.
It was cool that we got to see her get the iconic BMW.
Yes. I thought the way her mom surprised her was really cute too.
It was.
She is a rich kid to her core.
Gosh, yeah.
I know. The only thing my parents ever surprised me with was pizza. They're like, we got Domino's tonight.
So the last deleted scene we have is of Jessica and Dieter. Dieter's asking her if she was tripping out about graduation. Dieter says he feels so old after watching her high school graduation. Then he goes on to talk about her grade and says how so many kids in Jessica's grade are heartless and shady. I know.
Okay, Dieter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Jessica asks why Steven is so mean, and Dieter says he's not mean, but he doesn't want Dieter to get all amped up about Jessica. Steven doesn't want him and Jessica to be friends, but Jessica argues that Steven is still friends with Kristin when their relationship was way more messed up than her and Dieter. Dieter says Steven is not Jessica's biggest fan, and they both say life goes on.
Okay, but Jessica's right though. Like, what gives Steven the right to like tell Dieter not to be friends with her when he's literally like begging to be friends with Kristin?
Again, with all the Dieter and Jessica drama we apparently missed. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Right.
Again, we didn't see it, so I don't know, but I feel like Jessica gets unnecessary flack from his friends.
All right, so next we'll go on to the cast interviews, and the first one we got was Alex M, and she opens by talking about how surreal and weird it was watching the first episode and seeing herself on TV. She says she felt bad for Jessica with the Jason situation, and that when they first started dating, he was so cute and nice to her, but she doesn't know what happened. She says Jessica is the type who wants to please everyone and is a people person, and it made it look like she was at his beck and call, which sometimes she was, but they would all tell her not to continue to call him. She says Jessica is kind of weak with boys, and it got to the end where they were all just telling Jessica to dump him, but she wouldn't listen.
I feel like this came off so mean.
Yeah.
Like, and I get it. Like, I do. I get what she's saying, but it just came off bitchy. I don't know.
She was like honest. I didn't see it as mean, but it was just like her true opinion. Like she didn't hold back from what she actually thought.
Yeah, maybe it was just unfiltered. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
that's a good word for it.
That's the perfect way to put it.
Then talking about her relationship with Jason, she says she doesn't know what it was that she herself liked about him, but she thinks it's his bad boy scruffy personality. She says sometimes girls like to be treated poorly, and Jason was the bad boy tough guy, but that's not her. She says at that point in time, she doesn't know what she was thinking. And she says it was so weird when she and Jason started dating because she's known him forever and it was a very odd relationship.
She's so over her momentary lapse in judgment. That was Jason.
Oh, yes. Then she talks about the dinner when she gets the call from Cammie and says she was so mad when she heard she was in a corner kissing Jason. She was mostly upset that Jessica would do that after she took the time to talk it out with her. And she talks about the entire fight in Cabo and says that this was the first time she had seen Jessica since she hooked up with Jason. and that she was frustrated that Jessica kept saying that she didn't do anything, and she blew up at her because she just wanted Jessica to say she was sorry. She says she did it wrong, but she had to get it off her chest.
It's so weird to see her still so angry over it because
Mhm.
she's so far removed from it now.
Totally. Like, she was still insisting that Jessica deserved it.
Yeah.
When she talks about it now, it's so different versus like here you could tell she's still like kind of hot about it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I also put like there was a lot of eye rolling happening in this interview. Like her eyes were just rolling back every time she said something.
When Alex heard that Lauren and Jason got together, she was like, oh my gosh, here we go again. She talks about the landslide event and how it was filled with so much drama, with crying and yelling. But she points out that Jessica repeated her behavior, and she doesn't know if it was for attention or what, but it was definitely lame. And she said that she was so proud of how Lauren handled it.
I was a little annoyed at this because I was like, where's the hate for Jason? Like, why is she hating
I
on Jessica so
know,
badly?
yeah.
Nobody ever hates on Jason.
I know.
And we'll talk about it later, but I wanted to freaking kill Steven.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Oh my God, yes.
The next interview was with Taylor. She says her and Talon's relationship was always a game. She says she never took him too seriously because he's like a car salesman. He knows exactly what to say, so it was fun to hear, but then he says it to the next person and the next person. And I said, this sounds just how we always said that he understood the assignment. It sounds like she was like validating that.
And I liked how it echoed what she said in our interview.
Yes,
exactly. Like she's always felt the same about him, you know, in their relationship.
They liked playing the game and it was fun, but like
it wasn't serious.
Yeah, it didn't need to go beyond that.
Yeah.
She says that she thinks Talon's feelings for her were real because she pushed him as far away as possible, but he still comes back. She also said he's really intense, and no girl her age wants someone that intense that wants to marry you. So she needs to grow up a little bit. And this reminded me of when I thought that maybe that's why she didn't want to date him, was
because
he was like so like clingy and like just like, I want to be with you all the time.
I thought about the same
I want to marry you.
thing.
That's so intense.
We literally said this in that one episode that we were talking about.
Yes.
Do people in high school think that? Like, Liz, when you had your high school boyfriend, did you think you were going to marry him?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I know. It's really sad.
You know, I didn't have a serious enough boyfriend to think that I was going to marry him in high school, but I probably would have.
And it's your first love, you know, it's like, we're going to last forever. So, yeah. Regarding Cabo, Taylor says that Alex had to voice her opinion somehow, and Jessica had to hear it. She says Alex could have done it in a better way, and she didn't need to do it at night, in the middle of a club, in the middle of a street, with everyone around, but she had to get it off of her chest.
I do hate that they all justify, like, Alex yelling at Jessica in the middle of the street. And they all just echo, like, she deserved it. Like, she was messed up. I'm like,
well, she hit her in the wrong night in Cabo.
Yeah.
Jeez.
She says she doesn't know what happened between her and Kristin. She says they were really good friends, and she feels like it's because she doesn't want to just follow Kristin around and do whatever she wants to do. People tell her that she's a threat to Kristin, but she doesn't think she is. She says it bugs her because she's the only person she's ever had a problem with, and she doesn't know exactly why. She thinks the only thing that makes sense is that Kristin was upset about Talon liking Taylor.
I said multiple times that Kristin saw Taylor as a threat.
You did see that a lot.
And Kristin backs me up on this in her interview. But Taylor doesn't see herself as a threat to Kristin, but Kristin certainly saw her that way.
Yeah.
And I think that point about how she's like, I'm not just going to follow Kristin around and do whatever she wants to do. I think like that's it. Like Kristin picks her friends based on who like agrees with her, you know?
Yeah. She wants kind of
people.
dogs.
Yes,
totally.
Exactly.
Like people who are going to enable her behavior.
Completely.
And I don't think Taylor would have. I think Taylor,
she would have called her out.
Yeah, she's very outspoken.
Yeah.
And she would have been like, no, that's stupid.
Yeah.
You know, like, so yeah, it makes total sense why they don't like each other.
And then she talked about the promposal and how she was so mad when the tow truck driver wouldn't let her touch her car. And then she says she had just paid tickets. The check was in the mail, and she was trying to call the police when Jake walked out. And it made me wonder if the ticket had anything to do with her and Alex M. when they got pulled over and all that fiasco happened, you know?
I wonder. Taylor looks so pretty in this deleted scene. She had on that like ponytail, like bottom eyeliner, and she had that bright blue sweater.
The pearl earrings.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
cute.
know.
Yeah.
So cute.
She looked really good. And then we have Kristin, who looks like a freaking mess.
Oh, I know.
Sorry.
She did, though.
Yes. So next is Kristin. And Kristin said watching the first episode was a lot better because she was narrating it.
I know. I'm like, what, Kristin?
She just like goes right into it. Yeah.
No, it was a lot better because I was narrating.
Yeah. She says she was really sad when Steven first left, and at first they were doing this thing where it was like they were together, but they weren't. So after 2 months, she said she couldn't do it anymore because it was too emotionally hard. And then she gives advice and says, if you have a boyfriend who is going away to college, don't try to stay together unless it's like an hour away. It's too difficult. And what's the point? You're 18. There's no point. I agree with that.
That was very mature.
Yes. Then she says that she hated the relationship between Jason and Jessica. She knew he was cheating on her and that he wasn't treating her well, and she'd tell Jessica that every single day. She knew he was cheating on Jessica because she heard things, she knows how Jason is, and Jason wouldn't really deny it. Obviously, to Jessica he would, but to everyone else he didn't care, and for some reason Jessica would just believe Jason.
She said that Jason was actually telling people who else he was hooking up with.
Yeah.
And I just thought, if that's actually true, that's actually so disgusting, and I feel really bad for Jessica.
Yeah.
I believe it.
I do
because
too.
all of her girlfriends like knew that it was happening.
That's so awful, though, that he would go and tell people that and then gaslight her.
Yes, but Jessica was like choosing not to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Because like people were telling her that he was telling them.
Because he was gaslighting her.
But then he was telling her, I'm not doing anything. They're lying. Yeah.
Yes. And that's hard when you love somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You want to believe the person.
You want to believe them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kristin says that when Jessica kissed Jason at the landslide event, it was a shock to her. She says that Jason had a girlfriend, and Jessica was completely aware of that. She says, Lauren's a sweet girl. She would never, well, I take that back. She would do something like that. But Jessica was very aware that Jason had a girlfriend.
They try to be nice to each other and it just fails.
They can't. Yeah.
I know.
She says that she and Talon have always been flirty. At her birthday, she did think Talon had gotten really cute, but you just do that with boys, especially if you haven't seen them for a long while.
Oh, apparently. Okay.
Yeah. And at that point, she hadn't seen him in a month or so. And it was like, a month. That is not a long time for a guy to suddenly be cute.
Not at all.
Maybe like 6 months.
So cute.
Yeah.
I think your hormones were racing that night.
Yeah.
Because boys do look extra cute when you're ready to go. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. She says she really does care about Talon as a friend, and he's a sweet guy, but, you know, that's about it. She didn't have a hard time going to prom with Talon, but at the time he was very serious about them and she wasn't. She says Talon looked at prom as a date, and she looked at it as going with her friend Talon. And to this day, they're great friends, so they put all that romantic whatever behind them. And she says when the 4 girls, her, Alex, and Taylor went out to dinner, they wanted to end all the awkwardness in the 2 cliques. She says her and Taylor have always had an awkwardness between them and have never been able to open up to each other, and that they're very similar, and that's probably why they don't get along. It's like a competition with talent, and girls are just like that. But it's not like they didn't get along, they just didn't open up to each other.
She tries so hard to like make it sound like she doesn't have a problem with her, but it's like so obvious that she has a problem with Taylor.
Yeah. All right, next we get to Steven. He says he and Kristin are so off and on, but the connection will always come back when they're together. When he went up to San Francisco, he said they were both hooking up with other people, but when he came back to Laguna for Valentine's Day, it was back to their own thing. But when she came back up to San Francisco that weekend, it was the start of the end for them completely. He says it was a good weekend and he wanted her to come up, but it was also good to open their eyes and realize they're both moving down different paths and need to start working on their friendship. I think Kristin was at that point, but not him. He's trying to make it seem like they both were.
And this is totally not what he said on Back to the Beach. Like, the entire time he said that they were just friends, like they were totally over it already. So I'm like, ha, we caught you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have written, Steven, you were not this chill about it.
Yeah.
No.
But it's cute that you're trying to make it seem
Just trying to play it off, yeah. He says as a first love, being with Kristin was a great experience and he learned a lot from her. He says to cheating on her, to getting cheated on himself, to let's take a break, let's get back together. I think we need to go on a big break. You're going away to college. They went through it all. In those 2 years together, he thinks they experienced everything that could possibly happen in a relationship.
Yeah.
I know. Everything in a high school relationship.
Yeah.
Then he talks about Lauren up in San Francisco, and he says he was disappointed when Lauren left, and he was disappointed in himself because he didn't call her too much when he was up there because he wanted to meet new people. This made me so mad that he gave her such a hard time, and then he's like, well, I didn't call her a lot.
Yeah.
He said she was in a little bit of a weird situation with the people at art school and said they were too artsy and random for her and she wasn't making friends. He says he wasn't putting in a valiant effort to hang out with her and make sure she was okay. So he was disappointed, but it was her decision.
Okay,
Ugh.
Mr. Coletti, who stayed one more semester than Lauren. Like,
I
come
know.
on.
Yeah.
He was so annoying on every front. Like
So annoying, yes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to slap him, yes. He says his feelings for Lauren at Christmas break was that it was good to see her and thought she looked better and happier being back in Laguna. For her birthday in Mexico, he says they were at a point where they weren't really close, but it was the closest they'd ever gotten. He said, we'll always be there for each other, and at certain times it just winds up happening, and it's just like friends taking it to the next level for a little bit, and then taking it back to friends, like, oh, nothing happened. Okay, this is where he makes me really mad.
Yeah, the most infuriating.
When he found out that Jason and Lauren were dating, he said it was a good laugh and out of left field. He said it was weird and super random. He said as far as telling her to watch out for Jason, he wasn't going to get in the way. Then he says that he's a good guy, so he's on Jason's side.
What?
I know.
Oh my God.
I
Yeah,
know.
he's like, I'm a guy, so I'm on Jason's side. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Even though Lauren's your best friend, like you proclaim her as your best friend and you want
Jason
the best for
doesn't
her.
even have a side. Like, his side is just wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
did Steven and Jason like hang out? Like, did he even know
No.
Jason well to like be like, I'm on his side? Like,
No.
Bro code my asshole.
and then Steven said, I'm not going to go up to her and say, Jason's not a good guy. I'll let her Jennifer bunnies go to her and say, look out for Jason. Oh my God. Then he says he's on Jason's side and Lauren needs to live and learn.
I was so grossed out.
Maybe he said that to make it seem like he's like not into Lauren, but like it was
Yeah.
like too much if he was trying to do that. Like it went way too much on the other side. Like you can say that that is your good girlfriend and you want to back her up. Like that's okay.
At the benefit, he was disappointed in Jessica and Jason, mostly Jessica.
Ugh.
I know, but he really respected Lauren for how she handled it. He said she's very soft and sensitive, so it was good to see her stand up for herself. Then he again says he was really disappointed in Jessica and says she was low class.
Oh my God.
I know.
So for him to say he's disappointed in Jessica, but not really Jason, and then he calls her low class, I was like, Steven, are we watching the same thing?
I know.
Like, this is when you know that Steven is just like, he's got the wrong opinion. Like, he's got the wrong opinion about
Totally
this.
wrong, yes.
Correct.
Ugh.
And then he says his favorite part about this season was that it's over and there's no more drama and everyone is good and everything is okay. Steven sucks.
Steven does suck.
Okay, next is Jason. He says his relationship with Jessica wasn't really that bad, and for the first month or so, it was good. And I was thinking 1 out of 2 months, because weren't they only together for only 2 months? Yeah. But then it got out of control. He wasn't spending enough time with her and wasn't ready for a girlfriend, so he kind of blew it. They were really close friends who hung out all the time, but he thinks it was a bad call to date because now they don't like each other. And at first he says he doesn't regret it. Then he says, actually, I do because it ruined our friendship. He says his relationship with Alex was a mistake and he wishes he didn't do that and says it was stupid. He said they were friends and then they just started hanging out with each other. They had never really hung out by themselves and then they started to, and it was weird. He again says it was a mistake, that it was bad, stupid judgment, and he doesn't know what he was thinking.
He literally calls her a mistake like 5 times.
Yeah.
Like whatever, just what every girl wants to hear.
Yeah. He says right before Cabo, he was at a buddy's house who was having a get-together, and Jason says, I didn't have my head screwed on straight, and I kissed Jessica. Kissed Jessica, and then Alex found out. He says he thought Alex and Jessica in Cabo was classic and really funny.
Ew?
I know.
I know.
Yeah, really funny that two girls are fighting over your dumbass.
Yeah.
He thinks Alex overreacted to what she said to Jessica, and he felt embarrassed and sad for Jessica. And he said she looked like an idiot and can't believe that Alex made her say that she's a slut. Ugh, yeah. On the relationship with Lauren, he says they were never really friends and had never talked, but randomly at a friend's house, they hooked up. There were no problems or drama until the benefit, and at the benefit, when he kissed Jessica, he says it was a momentary lapse of judgment. Jason says, it was weird because Jessica and I were just, I don't know, we hadn't seen each other for a while, and we weren't not friends. I would say we just kind of did our own thing, but then as soon as we saw each other, I don't know, it was there, it just happened. When he asked Lauren to forgive him, he said it was weird because he actually liked her and he felt really bad, especially since family and friends saw. And he says he doesn't like being the center of attention between girls because it sucks and it's annoying and they're always at each other's throats.
Yeah, you don't create it at all.
You're not in the center. Like,
No,
you're not the one causing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Jason.
On to Lauren. Lauren said that the first episode of the second season was very different than the first season and thought it would be a completely different show. She says her relationship with Steven can't really be described. She doesn't think they would ever be more than friends again, and she loves having him as a friend. When they were in Cabo for her birthday, she said that's how Steven and her used to act. He could give her a hug and a kiss on the cheek, and no one would think anything of it. And I think it was more than a hug and a kiss on the cheek.
I know.
Trip, but I know.
I'm like, that's friendship?
Yeah. She says Steven was in love with Kristin and that he had a crush on Lauren. Her relationship with Kristin is on and off. She says in season 1, she really hated her, and in season 2, she hated her even more. But slowly they began realizing how dumb it was, what they were fighting over, because they were fighting over something neither of them wanted anymore. They slowly made up, and then they became friends. She says Kristin is a fun girl and that she loves going out with Kristin and that you'll always have fun. Then Lauren says, slowly I began to realize that the reason I didn't like Kristin wasn't because of Steven, it's because I don't like Kristin. I don't think Kristin's a very nice person. So I think that as much as I try to become friends with her, I just don't like her.
I did not think that was where that was going, because she was like,
not at all.
Kristin's so fun. I love going out with her. But actually, you know what? I don't like going out with her. She is not a nice person. I'm like, wait, what?
I think it was more like she's a fun girl, but I don't want to be friends with her. Like, and I actually thought when she's like, I think she's a mean person, and I just don't like her.
Yeah.
And I don't want her to be my friend.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
I was like,
all
whoa.
right.
Yeah, it
Where'd
took a
that
hard
come
turn
from?
there.
Yeah.
I was very surprised by that.
I also, like, she says Steven was in love with Kristin and he had a crush on me.
Mhm.
And that, like, made me, like, hurt inside my body. for
I
her.
know.
Yeah.
To like admit that out loud must have been
Yeah.
crushing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lauren says she tried more than once to bury the hatchet with Kristin, and as many times as Kristin will say that Lauren hasn't tried, Lauren's a little brat, that Lauren has tried so hard to put everything aside. Lauren says that Kristin and Steven were not dating for 2 months when Lauren kissed Steven. They were completely done, and no matter what she says to everyone, it's ridiculous, and she did not steal her boyfriend. She thinks Kristin is looking for pity when Lauren has done nothing wrong, and then Lauren says, she's a mean person. I just don't like her, so I don't want her to be my friend. She talks about the barbecue when Jason came over and how later that night they all went to Jen's house, and that's where they had their first kiss. Her first date with Jason was awkward because of all the cameras, and she said it actually was their first date, so she was really nervous getting ready for it. And she says that he showed up in the weirdest looking car and that she couldn't keep a straight face and that she felt so stupid driving in it, which made me feel validated that she also thought it was weird.
Yes, and I can't believe that was their first date.
I know.
Like, that's so
Yes,
awkward.
on camera. Yeah.
I know.
But it looked like it.
It
Like
did.
it was, you know,
Yes.
it was a true first date.
She's so cute talking about Jason, and it makes me feel bad.
But it made me mad.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
know. And they're the same. Like, when he's talking about her, he gets, like, all excited, and when she's talking about
Mhm.
him,
Mhm.
yeah,
I wonder if when these interviews took place, if they had already
that
like,
they were
back together
hooked
or
up again. Yeah.
talking or
Totally.
they had to have been.
This was like well into Hill season 1.
Yeah.
She says that she was warned about Jason by just about every person she knew, but she had to take a chance herself, and what they had was different from what he had with the other girls. The benefit was a very bad night, and she was so stressed and under a lot of pressure to put on a good show. Lauren says that Jessica was already driving her crazy that night to begin with because she was crying over some boy, kissing another boy in an elevator. Then she was dancing and sitting all over Jason's lap. It was hard because she was really stressed. Then she saw them kiss right before the show went on, and she had to get through the show after seeing this without trying to freak out. After the benefit, later that night, Cedric came to pick up her and Heidi to go out, and because her dad knew that Cedric was friends with Jason, he told Cedric that he could wait outside for them.
So cute. I loved that. I loved that story.
Go, Mr. Conrad.
He said, you can wait outside.
Protect your daughter. Yeah.
She says that Jason is a sweet boyfriend who takes care of you and is so considerate. She does trust him now because it did take some of the things that happened between them to make him realize that he can't do whatever he wants and that his actions do have consequences.
Yeah, they're totally together at this point.
Then she says that she thinks Jessica is a nice girl with no self-esteem.
Ouch!
Oh my gosh. She says 2 days after the benefit, she saw Jessica and basically told her, don't worry about it. Lauren says, it sucks. I'm mad that she did that, and I think it was really lame, but she wasn't dating me. Jason was. So I'm not going to get mad at her.
Go, Lauren.
Yeah,
I'm
so
so
mature.
happy she said this. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, woman power.
And the relief that Jessica must have felt.
Oh gosh, yeah.
To have Lauren be like, I'm not mad at you. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not another Cabo situation gonna happen.
Mhm.
Yeah. Then she says in the last year she grew up a lot and that she's living on her own in an apartment and that a lot of things she did in the last year were scary and exciting. All right, our last one is Jessica. Jessica says she had been friends with Jason for 6 or 7 months before they started getting together. She met him at the end of the summer of junior year, and at the time of the season opener, that's when they were breaking up, and it wasn't the beginning of their relationship. She said not all of it was bad, the show just didn't capture any of the good. When everyone was telling her Jason was cheating, her gut instinct was that he was, but she didn't want to believe that because she liked him so much. For winter formal, she was going to ask Jake to go with her. She says they always knew who they were going to ask ahead of time, and then they would ask them later. So she had asked Jake a long time ago, and since Alex and Jason didn't have dates, it made sense for them to go together. Both Alex and Jason asked if they wanted to switch dates, but Jessica said no because she felt bad doing that to Jake, and she wanted to go with Jake. Then that morning at the nail salon, she found out Jason had spent the night at Cedric's house after completely lying to her. So going into winter formal was really frustrating, knowing that he had lied. And that's why later on at the back of the limo, she blew up because she was really frustrated.
Which makes so much sense.
Yes.
And I wish we kind of knew
any of
heard
that.
about this on the episode.
Yeah, even a little bit of that. Yeah. There is no relationship with her and Jason. She doesn't talk to him, doesn't see him, has no interest in talking to him. If he wants to talk to her about anything, she'll talk to him, but she will never, ever go back to him again.
Why do I feel like if Jason called her, she would answer it right
away?
Like
during the interview.
Because she said it so many times that she's done with him and doesn't want anything to do with him.
She says what she wanted out of Cabo was just to go and hang out, do her own thing, and forget about Jason and have a good vacation. But then the whole thing with Alex happened, and she knew she wasn't going to have a good vacation. Jessica says, she freaks me out. She scares me. She doesn't scare me anymore. It wasn't really a vacation. It was Laguna brought into Cabo.
Alex is scary in that scene. I will forever say that.
Yes, so scary.
Yes. I don't even blame her.
Well, and what's even scarier is that, like, no one would freaking help her because everyone was on Alex's side. Like, that makes it 10 times as scary.
She's on her own.
Yeah. I mean, she had Emily, but that was one person.
She did genuinely think she was going to hit her.
Totally.
Yeah. For the landslide benefit, she doesn't really know what to say about it. Then she says that night they just kissed and it was bad, but she couldn't help it. He's a person she would always go back to, but now she will never go back to him again.
I appreciated her owning up to it, though, and saying, like, she just always went back to him and she didn't know why, and, like, it happened and it was bad, but, like, because she never really owned up to it before, so.
Yeah, that's true. And then she talks about the call with Dieter that night, and she says she feels like she has to lie to him sometimes, but not anymore, and they have a good relationship now where she tells him the truth no matter what.
Okay, but I feel like that's really telling about their relationship. Like, it sounds a little abusive.
Yeah.
That she, you know what I mean? That she like felt like she had to lie to him so that he wouldn't be angry at her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like it.
Yeah, why did she feel that way?
Yeah. I do think some of it is learned behavior from Kristin. Like, they were probably like being slutty and lying to their boyfriends about it. But I mean, still.
She says in the heat of the moment, she used to just lie. And then the next day, when he wasn't so angry, they'd talk about it. She also didn't know that she was on speakerphone with Jason and Cedric standing right there, but she lied really to just get him to shut up. Now that it's all over, she feels good, happier for the most part, and feels like she learned more about herself. She wants people to know that she's not that stupid, naive, or that much of a whiner or nagger, and she had low self-esteem, but she's working on it and that it's getting higher. She learned not to lie and not to do certain things or trust certain people, and she's not the same as she was a year ago.
And I believe it.
I do too.
Like, it was really sweet. It was really nice to see her like admit all that stuff, because like that's what everyone like thinks of her, right?
Exactly.
But for her to be aware, to be like, yes, I had low self-esteem, but I'm working on it, was like a really good thing to see.
And she also looked really pretty in her interview.
She did.
Yes.
She really did, yeah.
Like everybody else, like had some issues, but
except Taylor
and
pretty
Jessica
Taylor
looked really gorge.
Yep.
And Lauren.
Yeah.
Lauren looked very like Hills like.
She did.
Yeah, she looked a little messy though. Like, I guess we don't really have like favorite outfits for this episode.
What about our favorite deleted scene?
My favorite deleted scene was probably all the Lauren and Dieter moments. I thought those were really cool to see. And all of the little Jessica Dieter tea that we got spilled throughout. Yeah. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, same. I really liked seeing all of the stuff with Dieter because I felt like we never really got to see that side of him at all in season 2. And Casey and her mom, that scene was wonderful. We got to mention that.
And I loved Alex and Taylor going to get her nose pierced. I thought that was just like the funniest one. And like, I remember it to this day. Like, I love that scene so much.
So this was part 1 of the special features. Next week, we will cover the casting tapes and some of the featurettes. So come back next week for part 2. Thank you so much for listening to our season 2 recap of Laguna Beach. You can follow us on our Instagram at Millennial TV. That's Millennial TEAV on Instagram and on Reddit. If you have any suggestions for our podcast, you can also send us an email at millennialtv@gmail.com. And please give us a follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts to get notified when we release our episodes every Tuesday. Thanks again, and see you next week.